Hi everyone, welcome to today's DIP Hangout, and today's topic is practical self-empowerment, the process of creation. With me are Tormod from Norway. Hi Tormod.
Hello world, hello.
And Yogan from the US. Hey.
Hey everyone.
So today's topic, since it's kind of maybe a new concept for most of you watching. Oh, before I go on, we have a Q&A section, so you can participate with placing questions or comments, and as the Hangout goes on, we will address them and answer any questions that you may have. So since today's topic might be a little bit of a new concept, we're going to just open it up and explore what it is that we're actually saying or what we mean with the process of creation. Yogan, do you want to maybe start with just sharing your perspective or your personal experience with the concept of the process of creation? What does that mean for you?
So creation for me, like in very basic words, is the process of taking something that is here. Let's say me, my life, my everyday life. There's something that I want to change or to make happen or to create in some way, whether it's, let's say, something maybe simple like an art project or maybe changing some habit. That for me, the process of creation for that, it takes time, which kind of what defines it as a process. That it takes time to make an art piece. It takes time to change a habit, and I know from my experience that for me to change anything simply takes time. Of course, with that, with time, it's also about how I use that time. And I say time because I know that with consistent effort, that there are times where when I'm working with something, and I see that maybe it's not going as fast as I want, or not really seeing any results. That I know that if I keep trying and trying different ways, and that eventually I'll make the result happen. So for me, creation is the whole process of seeing something that you would like to make happen or to create or to change, and then spending the time and the effort to make that happen. And along the way, I encounter maybe problems or puzzles or questions or difficulties or unexpected surprises, or even just learning new things that could lead me into different directions that I really didn't consider before, and what I was trying to do or trying to make happen. So it's something that's very, very general, very, very everyday life, very normal, very, it's within small things like having a hobby or doing a skill, or maybe let's say the bigger things like a career choice or whatever maybe whatever you may define as big or small. Yeah. Is that like a good, yeah?
Yeah, like as you were speaking, I thought that maybe a good play on words with the word creation might be that it's like a reaction, like you have the part creation within the word creation, because you were saying that creation to you is basically stretched over time. It's basically what you do every day as you go about walking a certain process, making something, doing something, which is always something that takes time. So here we can look at the word creation as like repetitive action as a result of uh, an act that you do repetitively.
Mm-hmm.
Tormod, would you like to share your perspective
Yes.
on the concept of the process of creation.
Yes. At first, I would like to say that about creation, about the word creation, it has sort of a almost like this sacred dimension to it. It's almost like a sacred thing. Like we are created as human beings. We are created by our parents and so on. And we create buildings. We create all sorts of stuff in this world of dimensions or physicality or and so on. And what shall I say? It has a point of creation has a deep sense of equality to it. That is what I found out from investigating this world, looking at myself, looking at human design and history and beyond, and then searching through whatever concepts and theories are out there to find out what is this creation, what am I? And so that is a perspective that have driven me for years and years, also into suffering and abuse and drugs and so on, but also on a path of changing myself. And within that process of changing myself, of walking a process, I have gone from being this hearing of voices and having hallucinations, drug addictions, and all sorts of suffering, and within my schizophrenic world, and the how schizophrenics are meant to be meant to live, sort of ideas and concept and programming. And from that perspective of suffering and being addicted and all that crap went on with that illness and that time, I went to change the creation process, deconstructing myself, picking myself apart, and making myself and currently redesigning myself, making myself placing pieces back together. And that process, just like any process, like with trying to create peace in the Middle East or whatever, or process of healing a wound, or process of making a YouTube video of Rihanna or Timberlake or whatever, we don't get to see all that, what goes on within that process, because we always end up seeing the end product as this pretty, whatever, glorified, cool thing that everybody could easily like and press like and press yes and get kudos and so on. While we miss to see the process that all those people and that working hours and money and resources and everything went into that process. We don't see that. Mm-hmm. So and it's really exposed and it's really seen, and that is what I think, working my process, documenting what I do as far as common sense goes, sharing on my blog and sharing vlogging, explaining how I get to where I am from where I was, and so on. And to explain it and to lay out the blueprint, sort of, yeah.
That's actually a very cool point. What you said in the beginning, that creation is sometimes glorified. Something seems like a holy kind of thing, like God created Earth or God created mankind. And that's actually an interesting point, because within that we've glorified God as well, as someone who's just managed to create this whole planet and humanity and God knows what in supposedly 7 days, or whichever theory is behind it. And within that, it's interesting that we haven't actually asked ourselves a question like, but how did God come to create, or how did God come to create himself as God? Like we don't really consider the process that went behind that which we've come to glorify, because we just see it as the end product, and we're wowed by the end product, and we're like, oh my God, I could never create something like that. But we don't actually realize that God might have, walked this whole process during his entire lifetime, where eventually it got to a point where he developed the skills to be able to create a universe or something like that. And that's just an example of whether or not you believe in God or are religious, but it's something to consider. I see that we have a question by Colomar Maxime. Hi, for my part, I see creation same with global realization, and I see everything we build relation with same begin and hold on. So what I understand from that is it's necessary to restart creation.
The reset, sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is what we do
True.
at Destiny very much. We reset ourselves. We sort of deconstruct ourselves, taking away all the programming, all the energies, all the layers, and expose it and look at it and discuss it. And after we've done all that, often not a very pretty process, can be troubling, can be hard, but we have to do it because it's common sense to do it, and it's best for all to do it. So. And then patch yourself back together in a healthy, commonsensical way that is sane and within what is best for all. So sort of redesign ourselves. So Kolomar, Maxim, yes, I very much agree with that. It's we need that, and we are that reset instrument ourselves. We are those key components to reset ourselves and to start the process of changing ourselves and creating ourselves from new again, and also to teach our children, everybody else, how we can see through all the programming to unlearn ourselves, to unschool ourselves. Like in Finland, who has the best school in the world, they have least of one thing, they have least actual school, least of actual homework, least exams, and so on. They have least of that, and they're the best. So that's just a little tiny example of how we need to debunk ourselves and recreate ourselves, and to not hide that process, but to share that process, though it could be troublesome and tough and hard. Yeah.
Yogan, do you have a perspective that you'd like to share in relation to Kolomar's question?
It is kind of hard to understand what you really want to say. I would have to
I think that from my perspective, what Kolomar is saying is that we basically need to kind of reformat our relationships that we've created with creation, with each other and with our environment. Because right now, the relationships that we have created and that have been created over time is creating conflict and war. So we need to find a way to change those relationships.
Well, I mean, I definitely agree with what you just said. So
Discotheque.
I mean, even like on this topic we're talking about, like fundamentally, it's our relationship to ourselves, to actually creation itself, that's defining the product, the actually what happens, and how we present ourselves, and even like what we're talking about, when we go through a process of creation and we only show the end product, even that like is a pattern itself. Even that something needs to be changed in itself, and that's a result of our relationship to ourselves, even where it's like the program of suppression where we hide ourselves and we show another image. It's like that exact same thing, except like with other people, with other things, or for other reasons, like you want to feel better about yourself. Hi, Kalmar.
Yeah.
Really cool, and it's almost exclusively about our psychology, sort of, and learn oneself to know and to learn the internal and external processes that goes on in the world, and to realize that we can untie all those energy knots within oneself and set free all that components of personalities, of imagination, all sorts of mind layers of the body, shame, guilt, sorrow, fear, all sorts of baggage that we all carry with us every day, go on our routines, and to pick that apart, say this is that, da 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 da, and then write about it, forgive it, embrace it, and let it go, and to feel that physical ease and relief of empowerment. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because it's interesting that all those things that you mentioned, like you know, self-suppression and all the emotions that we tend to go through in our relationships, where we do kind of wage war on many levels, not only physically in reality, but also in our personal relationships and inside of ourselves. And then at the same time, you have you know, social media where we tend to generally want to post pictures only showing the positive side and only showing happiness and, you know, showing how our lives are working out for us, etc., while actually in the background there is so much war and conflict going on, as Colomar also mentioned in his comment, which is interesting, you know, because it's almost as if we don't even for a moment look back and ask ourselves, okay, how did we actually create all of this warfare internally and externally? You know, we still just kind of want to hold on to, you know, the suppression of it, rather than retracing our steps. And that's kind of an interesting dynamic.
There's another example, like you see, if you see like this video about people in China ripping off bunnies from their hairs, and then they make like clothing out of this wool of this rabbits that they pull off alive, and so on. Yeah. And we see you first go to the mall and see all these beautiful, nice clothes. They look all perfect and nice, and that's warm and comfy and colorful and nice and cool. But then we see on YouTube and see all this. Oops, this is how they're created. That is an in-the-face experience to see that, oh my God, these bunnies are really going through torture and beyond pain and so on. So that's sort of perspective that we see today is accumulating into where we see the truth of it exposed for what it is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we have another question or comment by Colomar. That saying that basically, how I'm reading it is that the biggest problem in human life is, you know, that we consume, and that we basically need to, in a way, destroy that dynamic of overconsumption right now in order to create new life where we are all equal, where we need to, in a way, destroy the old in order to simultaneously create the new. Colomar, just let me know if that interpretation was not what you actually meant, but we'll go with that for the moment. So, Tormod or Yogan, do either of you have perspective to share on that?
I can share a little bit because we are destroyed for the moment. Yes, at the moment we are destroyed. We are in the past we are destroyers. Yes, because because what the reactions, the personality conflict, the whatever goes on within myself will manifest as reality outside of myself and my mind. So yes, that's definitely a key that we are the destroyers, and we need to get back to life and responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah, and also with the point of destroying, it's like, I mean, some people say that, you know, we should just kind of destroy humanity and be.
Oh no.
Be done with it.
Is Kim there?
Now we lost Kim, just for a moment.
Okay. I can talk about the destruction process
Please
and
do.
creation process. I was gonna say that yeah, whenever you, let's say, are doing a change process where you're changing yourself in some way, there is that let's say destruction process, like destruction, where you are changing what's old and you are stopping what's old in order to create something new. At the same time, though, it's also like an expansion process where it's not just because I know there's a tendency where we want to only focus on the destruction process of let's say destroying evil or destroying everything that's bad. But within that process, we get so fixated on what's wrong, what's bad, that we lose sight of what actually we want to create instead, and to put forward as the actual thing that will take the place of what we're trying to destroy. And so otherwise we'll just end up with like an absence or like emptiness. So that process of creating what's new also needs to be focused on just as much as, let's say, stopping what needs to be stopped, stopping the old or the let's say the problematic points.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jörgen, and also about. And there's a new. I can try to read the new question here from Kolomar. If we create low without enjoy and new day for all, it's not problematic. Is repeat for leave enjoy and good human experiences. No, we chosen to start. Yes, to start again, sort of to recreate. I really very much agree, Kolomar. It's what shall I say? I figured out that the very key construct or element, whatever we call it, if it's money or heaven or God or what we call it, the very key element that have been controlling this world as of system, as of all sort of system domaining, that very key element have been blown away, have been deleted. So what I'm trying to say is that we stand with the possibility today to create ourselves and a better world for ourselves in that relation. So we can create a better world for all, starting with ourselves, examples, to manifest ourselves as that living principle, responsibility, self-awareness, you know, what is best for all solutions of new systems, of new schooling, new healthcare, new money system, and so on, and to have all these things like Venice Project or time banking and all these cool solutions that we have all these solutions, but what we lack is self-insight, to look inside ourselves and be clear with ourselves and to say that, yes, I stand here now responsible, I can, what shall I say, I can be responsible for me and for life in this world, and at that point to recreate first oneself, and within that everybody else and the world and the world within it. So we are creators as of today because we have this opportunity to create ourselves and then also the world externally. So within, so without. Jörgen? You're still here, yeah?
Okay. I think we answered it.
Yeah, I wanted to draw a little example about how entertainment industry is and showing us or how it works, and with the word sublime messages, sublime videos of Rihanna or Justin Timberlake and so on, and where the